Hello and welcome to the 2011 high school football season taking place here at Bellflower High School. The Los Alamitos Griffins on the road again, taking on the Mayfair Monsoons. Hi again, everybody. Fritz Pollard, Kevin Robinson. Great to have you along as Los Alamitos Television proudly presents high school football. And tonight's game, the pregame, being brought to you by Play It Again Sports. Go see Bill Phillips for all of your sporting good needs. Let's get to football. Lindsay May. Last week, Los Alamitos Open against Norwalk hung 70 points. The offense was clicking almost every time they touched the ball. Points went on the board.
I mean, it was a great game. La Salle completely had control of the game. We had Dylan Lagarde with nearly 180 yards. He had only 8 completions, 3 of which were touchdowns. We had Cody Paul, another big star to watch out for today's game, had 3 touchdowns, pardon me. And I think we're going to see a lot from Cody today, a lot of running on the ground, and we're going to see the offense really stepping up. But another thing that I think we're going to be seeing and need to watch out for is the defense. Last week they had 3 interceptions. Cody Marshall had 2 of those, so it's someone to really be focused on. And then also we had 1 fumble recovered, 67 yards for a touchdown. So I think tonight's game is going to be great. It's going to be a testament to who the La Salle Griffins really are this season, and I'm really looking forward to a good game.
Well, with 70 points put on the board, you mentioned the defense, and quite frankly, John Barnes after the game said, we really don't know how good we are. That was maybe an unconventional Norwalk offensive attack, so the defense, although strong, Barnes is still saying, I don't know what they're going to look like up against what would be a traditional Orange County offense.
Exactly. We'll see how they adjust to being on defense with a little bit stronger team. I'm not no offense to Norwalk, but we'll see how the defense holds up. We'll see.
Let's go to the other side. Mayfair. Last year, Los Alamitos, closer game, 34-14 was the final. Of course, Mayfair's got to be looking at all the points that Los Al put up against Norwalk. Barnes being very respectful of the Monsoons, saying they're a physical team. What's the matchup look like tonight?
Well, the matchup tonight, in order for Mayfair to keep it close, Lindsay mentioned the running attack of Los Al last week and Cody Paul. The Monsoons game offense. They're going to have to control Cody Paul. If they can't control Cody Paul, it's going to be a fight for them defensively. For Mayfair, coaches, Coach Fitch and Coach Grayson have been there for a long time. They've got a 3-pronged attack with their running attack. If they can put together a strong running attack, create some turnovers on defense, get Jerry Smith out, who scored 4 touchdowns last week, including 1 on special teams. If they can get him loose, they can keep it close.
Well, it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a step up in competition for both of these teams. Ladies and gentlemen, sit back, enjoy. This is week 2 of the high school football season. Should have a good one. And again, thank you to Play It Again Sports for sponsoring our pregame show. We're going to take our seats upstairs. When we come back, the kickoff, starting lineup, and much, much more. We'll be right back.
Quit playing around and clean out the garage.
Quit playing around, huh? I'll show her. Let's go, Joe. Guys.
Clean out your garage and sell Play It Again Sports, your gently used sports and fitness gear.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to high school football, the 2011 season, week 2, Los Alamitos and Mayfair. Just moments away from getting underway. Fritz Pollard, Kevin Robinson, Lindsay Mays down on the sideline, and we just finished the coin flip. And we would like to thank Consolidated Disposal for all of their support of Griffin football. We couldn't do it without you. Appreciate that, Consolidated Disposal Services. Always appreciate our supporters and sponsors here, allowing us to bring you these exciting high school football games. So let's take a look at this. spent time in the opening looking at just the absolute fabulous offensive explosion that we saw behind the arm of Dylan Lagarde last week. 70-14 the final there against Norwalk. And then, of course, the Monsoons also with the victory, 10-point margin. And, your thoughts on this matchup, Kevin, as we're moments away from the kickoff.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, it's a step up in competition for both, but it's really a step up for Mayfair. Though Mayfair is a strong squad for their division, very, very well coached, stepping up to a Pac-5 division team like Los Alamitos is going to be a big task for them. Cody Paul deep on the kickoff, and if I'm kicking that ball, I'm keeping the ball away.
On the far side, number 1, Kendall Holmes for the Griffins. On the near side, Cody Paul, number 5. Kendall Holmes had a touchdown return off of a kickoff, so 2 deadly return men back there for Los Alamitos. Gurkovich with the kick there for the Monsoons, and that will go out of bounds. Flag flies. Looks like they're going to mark that at the 15 where it went out, maybe at the 14. And we'll go ahead and take a look at the starting offense for Los Alamitos. The senior, Dylan Lagarde, started a year and a half, and believe me, he looked sharp last week. Your running back, Cody Paul. Your wideouts, Holmes, Keiko, Roberts, and Pastel. And then on the line, Rowdy Bush, Redmond, Anderson, Iacano, and Sanders. And I can tell you just about every one of those skill positions touched the ball for a touchdown last week. Lagarde going to go from the gun, gives it to Holmes. Holmes, open space. He's got tremendous speed on his way. One man to beat, pushed out of bounds there by Aaron Brown, the 200-pound senior safety.
Just your base, I wouldn't call it exactly the trick play, opening out, but coming out with a reverse, catching the Mayfair Monsoons off guard. No contain on that far sidelines, and he's off to the races on that one.
So Los Alamitos, after one play, already threatening, ball marked on the 25-yard line. Cody Paul is your lone setback. To the air, first time tonight, dumps it off into the flat. Nice tackle there. Cody Paul cut down.
That's number 4, Jerry Smith, coming up and making the play. Jerry Smith is a two-way guy. He doesn't start on offense, but he gets a lot of time. He's part of that three-pronged attack in the backfield offensively, but he came up and made a really good play on that screen.
Jerry Smith, the player of the week for the Monsoons. He was quite active against Downey in their victory with 4 touchdowns. And believe it or not their starting running back, although they did say that he will cycle through. Lagarde fakes it, goes back to Cody Paul, right up the middle, exploding outside, run out of bounds. 11:07 left on the clock here early in the first quarter.
Nice inside give for a 7-yard gain for Cody Paul before being ridden out of bounds.
So that'll bring up a 3rd down and 4.
Third and 4, you're really in 2-down territory, especially early in their year. So, it's really a run-pass option on this down.
Barnes, as he traditionally does, coming out to talk with his quarterback. Last week, Dylan Lagarde, 8 for 10, 180 pounds, 180 yards, 3 touchdowns. Connected for a 32-yarder, a 40-yarder, and a 10-yarder, and then ran one in right before the halftime break.
I'm looking for something easy to complete, good way to start the quarterback off. You only need 4 or 5 yards. Let's see if Lagarde can be as on target as he was last week.
Gives it to Cody Paul right up the middle. Enough for a first down.
Run pass option, nice 5-yard gain.
And just looking at that, Kevin, that looked like one of those where I'm giving it to you, yet if I see an opening, I may pull it back. Lagarde decides to keep it in the hands of Cody Paul, and he gets the first down.
Well, I don't know, because he's not necessarily a running quarterback, I don't know if they have a read, but it is set up, that play is set up as a read for the quarterback. On that particular one, I think they will run an option off of it and run a counter back the other way, though.
Fresh set of downs for the Griffins. Lagarde stays in the gun. Why not? Give it to Cody Paul. Right side, getting enough room. Just run out of bounds. 2 yards short of the end zone.
Yeah, just shy of the goal line. The one thing about number 5, Cody Paul, is he has a real active motor. So he has always got his legs moving, always got his feet moving, and he's always running north and south.
6 carries last week for 137 yards, 3 touchdowns, a 23-yard average, a 74-yard long run for Mr. Cody Paul.
Well, you normally think when you run for over 100 yards, it's a long day, but it looks like he had short work last week.
Right up the middle, touchdown. Before you even blink, Griffins are on the board.
Now, the one thing I can say, being someone who's observed Mayfair from up close and from far, from coaching against them and from seeing them in the past, that's probably the easiest first drive that they've had on them in years.
Yes. Last year, this score was 34-19, a close game. And, of course, that was Lagarde's first year as a starter. Brett Baton comes in. High snap there, handled well. That is up and good. Holding on that was Kyle Roberts. So there's the man, Cody Paul. Puts the first points of week number 2 on the board. And the Monsoons are going to get a chance to shake that one off, see if they can answer.
Well, you know, as an analyst, Fritz, you know, when you're watching these games, you want to stay as objective as possible, and you want to go in with an open mind. But going in, based on what we've seen last week, but based on what we've seen in the last couple of years in this particular rivalry, I really thought going in that Cody Paul was going to have a big day. And if he doesn't rush for 150 to 200 yards, I really will be surprised today.
Well, and remember, last year it was the Nick Richardson show, not losing much with Cody Paul, but Nick was the senior, kind of the featured back, and ultimately we knew what we were in for, Los Alamitos fans, that being when Cody Paul got his senior shot at it.
Yes.
Back deep for the Monsoons, number 4, Jerry Smith, number 3, Billy Thomas. Baton put it in the end zone 6 times last week, does it again here to open up week number 2.
Well, he's probably better served to put it in the end zone tonight, seeing how Jerry Smith returned 98 yards for a touchdown last week, one of his 4 scores.
Here is the offense for the Monsoons. At quarterback, Wu. Your running back is Brown. Your wideouts, Anderson, Minor, and Wright. Your tight end, Plume. And then Finotti, Alvarez, Walton, Joseph, and France on that line, and they are a big line. Wu being flushed out of the pocket, looking for an open receiver. Lots of pressure, puts it up. Kyle Roberts with the pick.
Well, that's an easy play for Roberts because Wu kind of put it up for grabs. I like the patience Wu had when he dropped back, didn't have anything, rolled to his right. However, even the best of the best have a hard time in throwing back across the grain like he did. And when you do, you have to put it on the line, and that he did not. As you take a look at this, you see Wu, he's really patient. He's checking his first read, second read. Then he rolls out, and that's where he gets into trouble because once he scrambles, as a young guy, you've got to learn to throw that ball out of bounds or just take the sack. Throwing back across the grain like that wasn't a wise decision for him.
And there was a lot of white shirts in between that intended receiver, which was Aaron Minor. So Griffins back on offense, just what the Monsoons didn't want to see. Nice play action down the field all by himself. Beautiful pass by Lagarde to Kyle Roberts.
Now, what I can tell you now, just from watching the first pass of the year from Dylan Lagarde, last year when he makes that ball, I honestly don't see him being as strong and decisive on that throw. Here with the play action, he dropped back, took a look at his first read. His first read was deep, took a shot at it, and was right on target.
Well, I think one of the things we looked at as we've watched Lagarde develop is last year maybe a little tentative, not on the same page as his receivers. Last week against Norwalk, so far this week, dead on throwing darts to his receivers.
And you know what set that up? What this set that up was what they did on the last drive, as you talked about, with the riding the fake into Cody 3 or 4 times on that drive. And on this particular one, the defensive backs for Mayfair hesitated a little bit, as we'll see, with the play action pass and the absolute strike he threw to Roberts. As you see here, same kind of action there. A nice 3-step hitch off of the fake. And an absolute strike.
Jerry Smith defending there, and that's one of their best safeties. And Kyle Roberts had at least 2 to 3 yards.
Yeah, the guys absolutely bit on that fake, and Lagarde was on target. And and speaking with Dylan Lagarde's dad a little bit before the telecast, he's got 2 scholarship offers, one to a Division 1 AA school, Bryant University in the state of Rhode Island, and West Liberty University out of the state of West Virginia.
Well, and I'm sure those letters will start piling in as some of these stats get reported as this season continues to move on.
If he continues to look like this, he'll have more offers than he needs.
Jerry Smith, Billy Thomas back for the Monsoons, and this will sail into the end zone again. Baton, we didn't mention, tacked on that extra point after the second touchdown and sends this one deep for the 8th time this season.
Now, coming out, what Mayfair has to do now is not fall into the trap of putting your heads down. 2 touchdowns, down 2 touchdowns to a talented Los Al team. You have to keep your head up. You have to keep a positive attitude and go out there and do what you're coached to do.
Wu going back to the air. Lots of pressure from Los Alamitos. This time he eats the ball. Wise choice. All kinds of white shirts in the neighborhood.
Now, you take the sack, but the one thing you do is you avoid the turnover. What they're going to have to do, because Los Al is so much bigger and physically stronger and quicker, it looks like, on defense, is they're going to have to develop some sort of game plan where they can just get quick strikes. It's got to be 1, 2, and 3-step drops and quick release by Wu.
Michael Hayden for Los Alamitos leading the charge. Flags, people moving. So the Monsoons imploding here early. 9:37 left here in the first quarter.
Looks like they were going to run the ball. They were going to run a counter to the right-hand side. And like I said, when you're behind the gun already, 2 touchdowns, you have to keep your composure. Come out, keep it simple for your kids so they stay in the game, and you got to sustain a drive. You can't go 3 and out, because you go 3 and out and go down 21-0 in the quarter, the game's done.
So Wu backed up. Going to give it to Josh Anderson. Gets a little bit of running room, so a bit of positive yardage. Hasn't seen much of it on the evening. As you say, not a time to get your head down. It's time to get some positive yards. Nice pickup there. Brings up 3rd down.
Yeah, they've got about 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4, and this particular down is really important for them because, like I said, you don't want to go down 3 scores against this explosive Griffins offense.
Wu from the shotgun. Heavy pressure. Tackled from behind. Nice stop there. Coming up, Daniel Tyler with the shoestring tackle there. Wu had nowhere to go.
Daniel Tyler got a good jump, came in on that backside safety blitz, and Wu really had no shot.
So that'll send Cody Paul back to receive this punt. He'll stand on about his 30-yard line. Osborne Ume will handle the punt here for the Monsoons. Cody Paul, and that is blocked. Ume picked up and just shy of the touchdown by maybe a yard.
That was blocked, it looked like, by Samuel Quarterly by the Griffins. Number 23 came in with the block, almost untouched. Got by the personal protector. The Griffins are going to get this about on the half-yard line.
Well, Coach Barnes was wondering how good his defense was. Maybe didn't feel like he got all of the testing that he was expecting out of week 1. Wow, look at the special teams. Look at the strong defense, all the pressure that Wu has had on him. I think that test is another passing grade.
Well, thus far it has been. You'd like to see, from a coaching standpoint, you'd like to see your guys go out, have good success. You want to have a little bit of competition, but all you can do is play the guys that are in front of you, and all you can do is play it well. And thus far, in 2 weeks or in 1 week in the first quarter, the Griffins are playing it well.
I'd like to also take this opportunity to thank some of the other sponsors of tonight's game. We mentioned Consolidated Disposal Services, also CI Solutions, First Team Real Estate's Randy Hill, and Worthington Insurance of Los Alamitos. Again, thank you for all of your support. So referee's over talking to the coaching staff of the Monsoons. Kevin, what would they be talking about?
Well, the only thing that I could think that they could be talking about is it where they recovered it and possibly advancing the punt and where they spot it. It looks like they moved it back from the 1-inch line to the 1-yard line, but that's the only thing I could conceive of them discussing right now.
Well, we'll take this opportunity to thank some more of our sponsors. Wanted to also mention the BEST program, the Best Elite Support Team. The way this program works is when you visit a store or company or vendor in the Los Alamitos area and see the BEST logo in the store window, tell the cashier that you would like to support one of the sports programs of your choice, and that vendor will provide a 5% purchase or 5% of the purchase back to that organization here at Los Alamitos. Handoff is to Cody Paul, and again, uneventfully, touchdown, his second of the night.
Just a straight dive. Only had a yard to go. The Los Alamitos line thus far is dominating the line of scrimmage. And so now the Monsoons have their work cut out for them. As we talked earlier, you don't want to get out of your game plan, but you also don't expect to fall behind in the first 5 minutes of a game by 3 scores.
Baton out of the hold of Kyle Roberts. Snap back, ball down, kick is up, and that is good. Los Alamitos extending their lead 21-0. Finishing the thought on the BEST program, and this is just a tremendous income-generating tool for Los Alamitos sports. We're going to take a look at this replay here. Uneventful.
Uneventful is the correct term that you used, and it's just a straight dive, what they're running there, and Cody Paul has a nose for the goal line.
So, again, for Los Alamitos supporters, if you see the BEST logo in a store window, tell the cashier that you would like to make a contribution to the sport of your choice, and they will give 5% of that purchase back to that organization. Some of the companies participating: Aegean Designing Whims, Quinn's Ice Cream and Sweets, Charlie the Barber, Madeira Steak and Ribs, and U.S. Donuts. There's the logo right there to look for in many of the stores throughout Los Alamitos. So Baton again, can he put it into the end zone? Kick is up, and for the third time, negates any return. Jerry Smith, Billy Thomas just watch it go over their head, and Wu comes back on the field looking to make something positive happen.
Well, the Monsoons definitely, Fritz, have to come out and they have to put together a drive. They have to sustain something. They cannot go 3 and out.
Well, they just, need to get some positive yards. And really, you had mentioned they had been going to the air, but like long developing routes, they need either a quick hitter or do something. Oh, and there's a week 2 mistake in the end zone. Gets out to avoid the safety, barely. So, Kevin, walk me through this. You coach at the high school level. You got a team. They're down 21 points within minutes of the beginning of the game. Now you're seeing misfires like this. What are you thinking as a coach? What do you tell your kids on the sideline to turn this thing around?
Now what you want to do is call them together, and you have to run your most basic of basic, and they have to do exactly what you said. They have to get positive yards, and the best way to get positive yards is to have basic plays right now, and that's what they have to do.
Wu flushed out of the pocket. He did run for 51 yards last week. Actually only threw for 35, so he can get it done on the ground. Now we have a flag late. So if this is against the Monsoons, the unraveling continues.
Yeah, as a late flag, usually it's players jawing at each other or somebody taking a late shot. And it looks like as a personal foul on the Monsoons, they're not going to lose that much yards because it's going to just be half the distance to the goal. But as right now, it's just a comedy of errors for the Monsoons.
Ball moved back to the 5-yard line.
Ball now marked on the 5-yard line. 6:24 left here in the first quarter. Monsoons down 21. Wu. Handoff. Not much yardage. All right, let's go downstairs to Lindsay Mays and get a report.
Hi, Fritz and Kevin. Just as an update, after that last touchdown by Cody Paul, when all the offensive boys were coming back off the field, Coach Barnes took them aside and said, hey, we have a lot of game left. Stay focused. He's worried that these guys are just going to lose focus and not play the rest of the game out. We only have 5-6 minutes left of the first quarter. We do have a lot of games. So what he's saying is true, and the boys do need to stay focused.
Well, I mean, there's a veteran coach not wanting his team to get too high and mighty and thinking they have this game in hand. I mean, he said it earlier in the week. This is a very physical and big team. Granted, they have the advantage, but we've seen crazier things happen. They're keeping the pressure on, and the Monsoons are misfiring because of it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and Lindsay brings up a great point. And Coach Barnes being around as long as he has, he knows that, like you said, anything can happen. Now, is his true thoughts or his true thoughts right now that Mayfair is going to make a run at it? You know what?
Likely
and knowing
not.
Coach Barnes, no. However, you do have to remember to keep your kids focused, keep them in, and you want them to play a good half to 3/4 of football.
Cody Paul going to let this one bounce. Takes a Los Alamitos bounce back inside the 50-yard line. Ashbourne Ume out of the end zone with the kick. And just what the Monsoons didn't want to see, and that's the Los Alamitos offense coming back onto the field.
Yeah, well, you know what? The one thing that they at least did is they at least improved field position.
Yes.
And that ought to tell you, because it's starting off on their 49, it ought to tell you how poorly the field position was.
Well, and Kevin, I don't know if you saw that. Lindsay was giving us the update, a delay of game right before that punt. So, again, the Monsoons struggling to get something going. Cody Paul, this has been the Cody Paul show, and outside, he's gone. The only man in the vicinity for the Monsoons was Aaron Brown, and Aaron Brown, number 21, has been looking at number 5 from the back a lot tonight.
I say the only reason that he was in the vicinity is that's where he started out. That's the only reason. They just come back with a little, in the backfield, counter action back with a fake on the fly, sweep to the left, come back with a counter action to Cody, and he just takes it to the house. The Monsoons defense is just getting ripped apart, and they really have to. They're going to have to relook at the scheme, because we're at 28-0. We're a little bit more than halfway through the quarter. 28-0 pending that extra point, which looks good.
By Baton.
And right now, we're really, for Los Alamitos, we're looking at the same type of game that they had last week in Norwalk.
Cody Paul, he's barely broken a sweat.
You know, he's barely broken a sweat on the season so far, and he's still one of the leading rushers in the county, and he's barely touched the ball.
Well, his speed is deceptive. Take us through this.
Like I said, as we go with a sweep action to the left side and just a counter back, no pulling, it looks like, from the front line. We may have had a guard pull. And then it's just using his speed once he hits the hole. And the one thing about him, he is a small runner, but as you can see, he's a powerfully built runner, and he runs north-south.
And does not shy away from a hit.
Absolutely. Now, you know, we talk about what's going on the Monsoons, on the Mayfair sidelines. Like Lindsay said, Coach Barnes has got to keep his kids on an even keel, because you don't want to get too high and too low. But at the same time, you want to get your kids some work. Your quarterback's got to get some work. Everybody's got to get some work. So at this particular point, this early in the game, there's not a such thing as running up the score, in my opinion.
Well, and
you have to get your work.
You know, Kevin, I just thought of that. Cody Paul has been so on fire. Lagarde wants to get that arm warm. He wants to run some of those routes. Here we see Baton put it into the end zone again. You know, if you're Coach Barnes, you're saying, listen, we got a game next week, and then we got some stiff competition coming with Santa Margarita and Edison coming up. And this isn't really an opportunity to really get Lagarde's arm warmed up.
Well, there's two things. One, you've got to get Lagarde some work. And two, once you get into the second half, then you can get your reserve some work, because you got to have depth. If you're going to go up against the Santa Margaritas and then get into the Sunset League and prepare for the Pac-5 playoffs, you're going to have to develop that depth.
Monsoons getting a bit of positive yardage there.
Number 4, Jerry Smith, tackled by number 22.
Jerry Smith, the ball carrier. Ball out across the 25-yard line. And I'm going to say maybe the best field position of the night for the Monsoons.
I would tend to agree. They're just past, almost at the 30, and this is about the best they've had.
So Wu, the 190-pound junior, fakes it, going to keep him himself. Remember, ran for over 50 yards last week, gets across the 30-yard line. And, Kevin, maybe the best thing the Monsoons can do is not put it in the air, keep this thing on the ground, and at least try to grind some yards out.
Yeah, because that's the like they say, there's three things that can happen when you put the ball in the air, and two of them are bad. At least they keep the ball on the ground, like you said. One, they're more likely to get some positive yardage, and two, they're less likely to give the ball back to the Griffins that fast.
4:10 left here in the first quarter. Wu, handoff. That's to Smith. And that will bring up Joe Locker with the stop.
Well, the Mayfair Monsoons come out of the Suburban League. The Suburban League is normally dominated by either Mayfair, who's got multiple CIF championships in the last 15 years, or by a usually strong La Mirada school. The league, and not only the league, but the division, I feel, is a little bit down. And so I'm not surprised. I'm surprised by 28-0 before the end of the first quarter, but I'm on the other hand, I'm not surprised that the game is totally dominated by the Griffins.
Well, Christian Wu, 190-pound junior, kept that one. That's the first down, I believe, of the night. And now you're finding a little bit of success. Second first down, excuse me. We're finding a little bit of success, and I'm not calling from the standpoint that they're in a rhythm yet, but at least they've put 2 first downs together. And there you see that speed getting into the secondary.
Well, the speed,
Aaron Brown.
The speed and athleticism of Mayfair is undeniable. What they've got to do now is they've got to eliminate the mistakes, the penalties, and the turnovers, and try and get back in this game slowly but surely. And at the same time, they've got to be talking to that defense and telling them, hey, we've got to slow down this Griffin railroad train on the offensive side.
That's the give. Runs into a host of Los Alamitos players. Aaron Brown, the ball carrier.
The Norwalk squad obviously wasn't a very strong squad last week. They play in the same league as Mayfair. But Mayfair, as I've stated multiple times, is a much, much better football team than that Norwalk squad. And so hopefully they'll be able to make it a game.
Brown with the handoff. Finding positive yardage, spinning out of tackles. And they've got a nice little drive going. So credit to the Monsoons. Tacking first downs together, finding success on the ground, using their speed.
And you would think normally down 28-0 early, teams go to that air attack, but that's really what's gotten them in the hole. So they've got to get back to the basics and try and gain some yardage on the ground.
Harden in the backfield. And the give is to Wu. I shouldn't say the give is. The keeper is Wu.
Yeah, quarterback keeper off of that read type of running play. Everything's 4-down territory for them now. They've got a little bit more than a yard to go for this first down.
Now they've got everyone bunched. Wu going to keep it. Finds a little crease. Squirts ahead, and that will move the chains again.
Yeah, what'd you do with that on that quarterback sneak? Is you just tell the quarterback you get behind the first lineman to whichever side that's uncovered by the defensive line, and that's where you want your wedge to go.
See the coaching staff there for the Monsoons trying to figure out something so this hole doesn't get any bigger. And Kevin, to your point, this sustained drive at least giving the defense a break. Maybe so they can get over there and do some game planning. If you think about it, that defense has been on the field most of this first quarter.
Yeah, they definitely were on the field most of the first quarter.
Wu gets around the corner. Big hit on Wu.
Well, actually, more than a big hit, that was a nice block on the sidelines by number 5, Josh Anderson, to get him a couple of extra yards. A nice scramble and run by Wu.
First down and goal.
So the Monsoons threatening with 1:02 left here in the first quarter.
Well, you know, you talk about the defense staying out on the field a long time. They were out on the field, but all they were doing really were chasing the Griffins down the field.
Wu's going to keep it, cuts it back inside. Wrapped up. First man in was Terrence Brown. Had 4 tackles last week and 1 interception.
One of the negatives about running your offense and no huddle on the high school level and running a shotgun the whole game are the missed snaps, and we've already seen a couple of those tonight.
Clock now under a minute. That'll be close to the first down, touchdown, no call.
Looks like they stopped him just short at the 1-yard line, coming in with a goal line front for Los Alamitos. And we'll have third and goal at the 1-yard line.
Marcus Harden, the ball carrier, 190-pound, 5'8" senior. So ball marked on the 1-yard line as Wu steps in, and we have whistles.
Looks like a timeout because of the end of the quarter.
So could not get the snap off. So 28-0. Los Alamitos on top, but the Monsoons knocking on the door. And really, Kevin, you got to give a lot of credit to Mayfair right now. I mean, they could have completely imploded here, and now they're putting together a great drive. We're going to step aside for just a moment. 28-0, Los Alamitos on top.
Setting up your home with interior lighting can really be a major task. That's where McNally Electric's new website can help. Its practical and simple layout, along with its amazing search engine, allows you to sort by lighting type, style, dimension, and other factors that could help you with your decisions. Of course, McNally Electric's lighting consultants are always ready to assist you at any time. Visit our showroom in Los Alamitos, where we have a selection of over 200 vendors. We have what you're looking for. McNally Electric, affordable, quality lighting.
Welcome back to Bellflower High School. 28-0 Los Alamitos on top, but Mayfair knocking on the door. Tonight's game brought to you by Consolidated Disposal Services. And the Monsoons coming back out. Mark it on the 1-yard line. Wu really has been the catalyst in this offensive series. And he will scoot in for the touchdown. So Wu getting it done. Couldn't get it done in the air and getting it done with his legs as he did last week. Yet they weren't digging themselves out of a hole like they are tonight.
Yeah, all done on the ground, which is how they're going to stay right now. However, it's going to be dictated to them whether they put the ball in the air because I don't think the Griffins are going to stop scoring.
Snap back, ball down. Gurkovich misses, so it will remain 28-6 as the senior pushes it wide.
Well, you can obviously find the positive out. As we take a look at Wu going in for the touchdown, all he's doing, as you see, goes up, first uncovered lineman, and they're going to run the wedge in for the sneak to the right side. And they get a good push in, and you can tell Wu is experienced at running that play. But in getting in and just putting 6 points on the board, and it slows down that Griffin offense, and that's what you have to do. And they're going to have to play ball control the rest of the game and try and get back in. Now, if they can go out this quarter, shut the Griffins out this quarter, and get a score this quarter, then we have a ball game in the third and fourth quarter of this game.
Well, coaching staff on the far side there drew up something that worked and salvaged at least the end of the first quarter and beginning of the second, stringing together some great first downs behind the running of Christian Wu, Aaron Brown, and Marcus Harden. Gurkovich. That's taken by Cody Paul and whistles. So, seems like there's some confusion on the far side there. Whistles blowing. Referee's been busy tonight.
Well, let's see what we've got here. Just got an updated score tonight. Carson is up on Long Beach Poly.
Another big game taking place.
Yep.
Great time of year. In fact, it's even cooled down. It feels like football weather. It felt like we were in the middle of summer. Temperatures in the 90-plus, even pushing hundreds in the inland parts of California. And tonight, high today was 71 and cooling down quickly here.
Much nicer today than it has been in the past few days for football.
So Cody Paul, Kendall Holmes, that's going to go to Paul on the re-kick.
I think it may have been better for it to go out of bounds for them.
Yeah, probably not. You see Cody Paul trying to come near side, and that's where he can be very dangerous.
Well, you can look at this as two ways. The good thing about it for the Mayfair is obviously, like we keep discussing, is they get some positive yardage and they finally put points on the board. Now for the Griffins, now they still stick with their game plan, which Coach Barnes is going to do anyway, because you want your kids, like I said, they've got to get a minimum of a half and hopefully 3 quarters of work.
11:44 here as we are early in the second quarter. Cody Paul, your lone setback. And Lagarde steps into the gun. Whistles blow. That goes to Kendall Holmes.
Well, I can tell you this, just from looking at the one pass that Lagarde threw and just seeing him release that ball, he has got a lot more zip on that football. And now, obviously, you attribute that. He's older and he's more mature. He's in the weight room, but you can tell his mechanics are a little bit different. His confidence level is much, much higher than it was. And his arm strength, his overall arm strength is really strong.
Well, and one of the things we noticed, we saw it last week against Norwalk, we'll already see it tonight, his confidence, he drops back 3 steps, boom, that ball's out of his hand. Last year, there was sometimes a little bit of hesitation, and you're not seeing it this year. And you would expect it. A senior quarterback, he's now getting some looks from colleges. That will only increase as he puts out performances like we've seen already tonight. Although a lot of that a handoff, he had a great throw to number 15, Kyle Roberts, right on the money. We saw a lot of it last week. Big year for the young man.
Absolutely. But from a quarterback coach's standpoint, I want to see him put it in the air because I want to see exactly how much he's improved from last year. And based on what I'm seeing so far, it's a totally new Dylan Lagarde.
Lagarde. That is complete, just in and out of the hands of the receiver. That is Luke Pastel. Had a touchdown last week, 40-yard, one completion for 40 yards and a TD. Not bad for number 46.
But I like them now. They've come out. Now they've gone to a different part of their game plan. Looks like a little bit of quick passing action, but you have to do that. Even up 28-6 in the second quarter. You know what? It's almost to a point. Heck, if we keep running Cody Paul, we're never going to get a chance to pass.
That brings up second down. They give it to Cody Paul. Cody Paul wrapped up. That's the best tackle of him all night, at least from the line of scrimmage.
Right. Now we'll have a 3rd and long situation. It's the first 3rd and long situation for the Griffins. And it's based on last week's score. It's probably the first 3rd and long situation for them this season.
You bet. So back to the original line of scrimmage, 3rd down and 10. Clock continues to run, 11-11. Here in the second quarter. Lagarde, quick drop, throws it high, intended for Kyle Roberts. And the Griffins turn the ball over with 10:52 left before the halftime break.
Now he had a lot of zip on that, just a little bit of an overthrow. But I can tell you, if you read body language of the kids, and like you said, now, and it's unfair to judge a young player as a sophomore year. He comes in the middle of his sophomore year and gets some action, and then comes in his junior year. But you can tell by his body language that his leadership skills, just his development is all there.
Baton with the punt. Jerry Smith back, and we'll just get away from this one. That'll be marked down right in and around the 36-yard line. And out come the Monsoons after their best drive of the game. And let's see if Wu, with his leadership, can give that defense a bit of a break.
Now, they had a long drive last time coming out. Let's see if they try to stick to it or go back to their original game plan, try and put the ball in the air. But Wu seems to be much, much better when he's running a little bit of play action and then taking off on his own.
So we've got a timeout, Monsoons.
Timeout called by Mayfair with 10 minutes, 13 seconds remaining.
I'd like to also take this opportunity to thank another one of our sponsors, Los Alamitos Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy, Mike Mandis and Andy Ihorn, great sponsors of any of the Los Alamitos sports programs, best known for the way that they get you back into shape after an injury. But they also have a great wellness and fitness program which prevents injuries. Train to Shape is the name of that program, Los Alamitos Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy. Thank you to all of the sponsors, again, for tonight's broadcast. Ina Horn and Mandis, Orthopedic Sports Physical Therapy. Back to action. Wu in the grasp of Los Alamitos, flushed out of the pocket and then just eaten up by a great pursuit.
Well, the one thing about it is if you're going to have an athletic quarterback and you're going to put him in those positions and want him to run the ball, what you want to do is tell him, if you're going to run away from Terrence Brown. And if you do run, make sure that you make a decision to go, because Terrence Brown has nice closing speed, as we saw in that play.
9:43 left before the break. Wu, handoff, and all bottled up. That's Aaron Brown. So Los Alamitos taking that drive, the Monsoons, going back to some chalk talk and making some adjustments there, because they are just not getting the kind of running gains that they had on that last series.
Yeah, you know what? It put them in the bad position when they come out and try to throw on first down, and really went back to what dug, the bad spots that they dug themselves a hole in the first quarter.
Third down for the Monsoons. Wu from the gun and whistles again.
Yeah, it looks like offsides on the Griffins on that.
Illegal procedure called on the Monsoons on the 5-yard penalty. Make a third down.
Also like to take this opportunity to thank Edward Jones Investments, making sense of marketing. Local agents, Beverly Rigney and Ryan McLaughlin. Thank you very much to Edward Jones Investments. Wu throws the screen, and Los Alamitos all over it. Daniel Tyler in there. He's been everywhere.
Yeah, it looks like they ran a little bit of a slip screen there. And in that situation, when you have third and forever, a good defensive team is going to be looking for screen draw, especially against a team that hasn't had very much success in throwing the ball at all. You're going to look screen draw, and they threw that right into the heart of the defense.
So Cody Paul will get another chance to put his hands on the ball before the halftime break. He will stand on his 35-yard line. High snap, punt up. Nice punt by the Monsoons. Cody Paul, who rarely will call a fair catch. This is where he's dangerous. He's waiting for his blockers to develop. Cuts it back inside, and he has one goal, and that is to get to the end zone. That's all he's thinking about.
You know, one thing you try to coach your young running backs. You tell them, you know what, take your yards as they come. Be patient. Every play isn't going to be a touchdown, but when Cody runs the ball, you see so much of him just looking, like you said, he is looking to score every time he touches the football. And I'm kind of disappointed when he doesn't score.
As is he.
Yeah.
So first down for the Griffins. Lagarde from the gun. Cody Paul is the lone setback. Give it to Cody Paul right up the middle. Again, we're starting to see some clamping down of those big holes that were there in the first quarter.
Yeah, a little bit of the pistol by the Griffins on that, and nowhere to run for number 5.
Second down and 12 for the Griffins at the Monsoon 49-yard line. Second and 12.
7:31. Second down for Los Alamitos. Mark it as a loss on the play of 2. Lagarde, play action, rolls out. Got a flag on the play, and that pass is caught. Let's await what the laundry is on the field. Kendall Holmes, the receiver, and that will go against Los Alamitos.
Yeah, looks like that was a hold.
Third down and 12 yards for the Griffins.
Now, if you're the Monsoons, with 7 minutes left here before the break, 28-6, you're looking at this and going, where was this in the first quarter? How did we get here? Pretty good second defensive series here for Mayfair. And, you know, look at they're second down in a country mile.
Well, as
for Los Alamitos.
Yeah, as we talked about earlier, it was just a whole snowball effect from the errors, and that's basically what happens when you have that. All of a sudden, that monsoon, for lack of a better term, hit you.
Kendall Holmes, man in motion, looking to get a corner. Gets some of it back, but that'll be third down and about 18.
Yeah, not a lot of options for the Griffins here. So this is definite screen draw territory, but I want to see Dylan Lagarde air it out. Like to see him let one go. But you usually in this situation, when you've got that third and a country mile, you can look for some sort of maybe a hitch, slip screen, some kind of bubble screen, and see where that takes you.
So third down for Dylan Lagarde.
Lots of movement.
Whistles. You know, I don't know. You call this week 2 jitters? What would you say, Kevin? You're watching this. We've had a lot of whistles.
Well, you know what, and I think you hit the nail right on the head. It's a combination of things. Number one, like you said, just jitters from it being early in the season. And number two, now it seems like the flow of the game is kind of off. You had that onslaught by the Griffins in the first quarter. Now the teams are sort of settling in a little bit. But you do see now the little minor mistakes coming, because what you do is you start trying to make different things happen defensively. And so you see kids jumping off sides. You see linemen flinching and moving on the offensive side of the ball. And that's simply because you're a little bit outside your game plan, at least on the Mayfair side.
Third down 25 for the Griffins. Holmes is your man in motion. Big time blitz. That is caught. And there is enough for the first down. That was a long play, but just barely gets across the first down marker. Those chains will move. Great play for Lagarde.
Now, like we said, coming out, third and a country mile, what do you look for? You look for screen draw. What do they run? They come out just as I said, and they run a slip screen. They run slip screen to the outside receiver, and what happens is these defensive linemen, they got to come through here, and they see that they're getting to the quarterback a little bit early. Well, they just run that slip screen underneath, and you just find the lane and get upfield.
Kyle Roberts did a good job to just keep his balance. Cody Paul, one of the first times tonight, he is marked for a big loss.
Well, now it looks like that the Monsoons are here to play. What you want to do, though, is you still, and they're pushing the Griffins back. So we had a 5-yard loss on a running play, 6-yard loss on the running play there. Now we're going to have to see what kind of pass attack the Griffins can put together.
Clock continues to run at 5:28. Lagarde lobs it in. This should be a touchdown. Nice pass. Josh Keiko, touchdown.
I guess we just saw what kind of passing attack the Griffins have.
Now that was some touch.
Yeah. He's really put together so far a really strong first 1.5 games.
Great move by Josh Keiko to get the distance on that defensive back. He had 3 or 4 steps. All he had to worry about is just not losing concentration. Baton in to tack on another one. Snap back, ball down. That is up, and he is good all the way around. 35-6, Los Alamitos over Mayfair.
Outside receiver just runs a straight go route. Inside guy runs something in the flats, and they just say, you know what, let's see if you can run by him. And that's what happens. Just a straight go route, no safety help over the top. Nice touch by the quarterback.
So the Griffins continue to roll. Let's roll on with thanking some of our sponsors. Cartridge World in Los Alamitos, Montage Dentistry, The Finishing Touch, Seaport Doors and Windows, and the Yucatan Drill. Thank you very much to all of the supporters for tonight's game.
Well, based on this, I can tell you that the Griffins would definitely win the Suburban League.
Yes, as they continue to play Suburban League opponents. So Baton, who has been quite active tonight in many facets using his leg, will kick it off again. Jerry Smith and Billy Thomas will be back for the Monsoons. And they, again, will just watch a return be wiped off the table.
That's a great weapon to have. Great weapon to have when your kicker can put it in the end zone.
Well, I was talking with Coach Barnes earlier, and he said that they are just thrilled with Baton's leg. You know, and you bring up a great point. When you've got someone that allows a return to take place, bad things can happen. And he kicked that one, if we look at the flag, he kicked that one right into the wind.
Into
and
the
it's
wind.
Gusting.
Yes.
Christian Wu. Handoff. Los Alamitos with good D. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. Joe Locker comes up to make the stop.
Now they've had a bit of a setback. What you want to try to do is keep the ball the rest of the quarter because you've proven that you cannot stop the Griffins on defense. So you want to keep the ball out of their hands, try and put points on the board.
2nd down and 8. Aaron Brown, the lone setback. They fake it to him. Wu up the middle. And he's cut down. Kevin Small with the stop.
We're coming up 3rd down and 2. 3rd down and 2. Really important 3rd down opportunity for the Monsoons.
Well, and you look at it with 4:20 left, if they can tack on one more, at least you go in on a positive note. With 4:14 left, you give this thing back to Los Al, and you may be down another touchdown. Wu's going to keep it himself. He's been responsible for a lot of this offensive spark and ridden out of bounds by a nice tackle there on the far side.
Yeah, you just want to keep the clock running, and it's obvious. Okay, the obvious statement is you want to go down and get points on the board, but like you said, not only is that important, you want to keep the ball out of the Griffins' hand because they have proven that they are quick strike offense tonight, and that you really can't stop them.
So fresh set of downs as Wu picks up the first from the gun. That is complete on the far side. One of the first passes downfield that has been completed tonight. As we said earlier, that's what got the Monsoons into trouble quite early. Of course, a interception in the first quarter early.
All right, well, they're working on getting into the rhythm. We've got a timeout called by the Griffins. Got a couple of score updates. Sunset League foe Huntington Beach is up 7-0 at the end of the first quarter against Corona Del Mar. And Cypress is up 33-0 in the second quarter against Norwalk.
Wow, Norwalk having a rough start to their year.
Yeah, they definitely are. It looks like it for all the Suburban League teams because I think, if I'm not mistaken, La Mirada took it on the chin last week.
So 3:52 left here before the break, 35-6. Los Alamitos and Barry Shear, you see him right there, defensive coordinator. You can just bet what Barry's saying is, let's get a stop because we've got another score in us.
You know, Coach Shear, when I talked to him before the game today, he had his game face on, and he almost had me fooled thinking that he really thought that this may be a close game.
He has a way of doing that. I've just gotten used to that game face.
Yeah.
Not very talkative.
No.
That Mr. Shear. Wu going to keep it. Positive yards again. And there's a face mask after the whistle. You know, wow, let's give Wu some credit here. I mean, 6'1", 190-pound junior. And quite frankly, until he started hanging on to the ball and running it, it was not looking very good for the Monsoons. And he has picked up first downs, been hit, and is almost single-handedly keeping the Monsoons in this game, if you even want to say they're in this game. There he is right up the middle, very deceptive speed, throwing that ball out there a little bit, but taking his licks.
Wu is, you can tell, he's a really good athlete, and especially for a junior. They've just got to provide better protection for him. They've got multiple receiver routes, and they'd be better served by going max protect and bringing one of those receivers in the backfield and protecting him a little bit better and giving him shorter reads, quicker reads.
Well, and one thing they haven't been able to show is a quick strike with 3:09 left before halftime. Wu to the air. This could be dangerous.
That's going to be a penalty flag. That's going to be a flag.
Well, and Kyle Roberts is down. He was the one that delivered the hit. Both the Griffins are down. Actually, the one that fared the best was the intended receiver.
Yeah, he delivered the hit, but he was also way late on that hit. You're gonna get him on 2 counts. 1 for going in head first, and 2, the ball was clearly passed, and he went in and took the shot. Both guys appear to be okay, but a well-deserved penalty.
Keenan Wright was the intended receiver, 5'10" junior, and actually did not seem to get the brunt of that hard hit. The Griffins are the ones that are coming up a little bit gimpy.
And you know what? One of the reasons is you saw the referee's call. We called the personal foul. He called the personal foul, but he also said leading with the head. And when you lead with the head, more bad things can happen to you than can the person that you're delivering the hit to a lot of times.
So with the penalty inside the red zone for the Monsoons.
Yeah, that being said, Kyle Roberts can bring it.
Handoff is to Brown. Brown finding some room. So that big offensive line starting to get a surge. Let's take a look at that offensive line for the Monsoons. Finotti, 260-pound senior. That's the left tackle, the left guard. Alvarez, 285-pound, the center, 315 in Walton. And then your right guard at 265 in Joseph, and your right tackle, 235. He's the small guy of the group. So we take a look at the handoff there. And that's the star from last week, Jerry Smith. And you can see why, but that right tackle, Jalen France. So they've definitely got the bodies.
You know what? They've got the beef to run the ball, and they've proven that when they've had success tonight. They've had their success on the ground.
Now, this is a big gut check for Los Alamitos. Of course, they would love.
We're going to probably have an illegal substitution here.
They would love to put a stop here. Yeah, Los Alamitos shuttling players
12.
in and out.
12 men on. Well, the way the Monsoons have been running the ball down the field, 12 men is probably a good thing for Los Alamitos right now.
It's under 2 minutes, and again, for the Monsoons, they'd almost like to run as much time off as possible just in case Los Alamitos can put something together, which we know they are quite capable of. Wu climbs in under center. I'd be surprised if he didn't just keep it. He spins off. Touchdown, Monsoons.
Yeah. Like I said, we've got a minute 46 left, 2 timeouts. I don't know if the Griffins have had more than 1 or 2 drives longer than a minute and 46 seconds tonight.
Well, the Monsoons did what they had to do, and that's get some more points on the board right before you go into the halftime break. Take a little confidence in with you. And they're going to go for 2. Might as well.
Yeah.
Wu now goes from the shotgun, and we've got more whistles. Those referees are going to wear those whistles out tonight.
Yeah, it's a timeout.
Timeout called by Mayfair.
Long first half. Usually when you have a blowout first half, it goes by a little bit quicker, but we've had so many stops in the action with the penalties and the quick strike of the Griffins.
Minute 46. You've got to assume that Wu just wanted to see what the alignment was going to be. Got a good look at it and figured they'd burn a timeout to improve their chances of putting 2 on the board.
Yeah. Well, they've got to make up, down this far. Usually early in the game, no need to go for 2, but you got to make up those points at some point during the game anyway, and you're down so far, you may as well go for 2 at this point.
And remember, the Monsoons do get the ball back to open up the second half. So here we go. Still lining up. Looking at going for 2. They bring a couple of their receivers in tight now. And they give it to the first man through, and he waltzes in. That's Josh Anderson, the starting wide receiver. And that'll push it to 35-14. Los Alamitos has a few less seconds to put their drive together.
Yeah, come back on that jet sweep. And if you've got speed, all you need to do is just get to the corner, get to the flag on that particular time.
So in most cases, high school football game, minute 42 left, you get the ball, you're thinking run the clock out. Los Alamitos, they're drawing something up in the dirt to walk out of here with another TD.
Yep, you've got 2 timeouts, score again, and you want to work on your 2-minute offense too, because in these the first few games of the year, they've got Norwalk, we've got Mayfair now, West Adams coming up. They've got to work on that 2-minute offense because believe me, all that they're building up to now is to prepare for Santa Margarita. And a coach is not going to tell you that because what the coach is going to say, we're staying in the moment, we're working this game, then next week we're going to prepare for next week. But believe me, when you look on that schedule, there are certain games that you put stars on.
Cody Paul, Kendall Holmes back deep. They're going to give it to Kendall Holmes. And he will hurt you with his speed, too. You don't lose much there. Fights for extra yardage. And that'll be out near the 35-yard line. So giving Dylan Lagarde some good field position to set this up.
Pretty good coverage there. Now they've just got to get into that to their defense, and right now, you usually it depends on how you play it. A lot of times you don't want to go into a prevent defense because all that does is it just gives a team an opportunity to move down the field. However, they're going to have to go into a prevent against them. They're going to have to play deeper than normal. Safeties anywhere from 15 to 20 yards, and just not let anybody get behind them.
Give it to Cody Paul. Look out. Far side, one man to beat. Huge gain. That changes the playbook a little bit.
And once you do go into that prevent defense, you got to make sure that your front 4 and your back 3, so your front 7, are still playing run first.
Wow. What will we see just based on the first week and a half, assuming we agree with me, we've still got half a game here.
Yep.
You probably won't see Cody Paul a lot in the fourth quarter. We'll see how much he's playing into the third. But
yep,
what we've seen already, amazing.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Lagarde to the air,
Wide
throws
open.
a strike. There you have it. Kendall Holmes right on the money. And, Kevin, this is what we were talking about. No hesitation, confidence, throw a dart.
Well, anybody, you as an analyst, you go through and you judge the players as you see them. And as I always say, these are kids that are in high school, but you have to judge them as you see them. And as you see Dylan Lagarde come out, there is no way you can look at Dylan Lagarde last year and Dylan Lagarde this year
close,
and think they're the same player.
Not even close. In fact, if anything, what they maybe did is scored too quickly. A minute 22 left. Baton ready to tack on the extra point. Kick is up. Splits the uprights. Kyle Roberts, the holder. It's good to see him back out after that big collision turned into a penalty down on this end. 42-14.
Yeah, and if there's any team that scored too quickly, it was Mayfair. It was Mayfair.
Yes.
It was Mayfair.
They came a minute and 40-something away from taking that last score into the locker room.
Yep. Well, I'll give you another score update because in the fourth quarter we may be doing a lot. We got to look for some filler.
Yeah.
Long Beach Poly is up in the second quarter on Carson and an intersectional 18-12. And Carson beat Mater Dei last week.
And you were talking earlier about coming over here, saw Servite's tailgate party that looked like a professionally run extravaganza.
They were by no means jealous of the tailgate party thrown at Lambeau Field yesterday.
Yes. In fact, they may have set the tone for it. Servite, ladies and gentlemen, they are a stud team here in the 2011 season. We will see a lot of them.
Definitely.
I should say in highlights and in newsprint.
Yeah. And hopefully in the playoffs.
First time tonight, Baton's kick did not go into the end zone, so we're seeing a return. And this is the gentleman that ran it back last week, Jerry Smith, with a great return. He, the player of the week at Mayfair.
You know, one of the things, especially early in the year, that you're going to see a lot of special teams touchdowns, a lot of punt returns, a lot of kickoff returns. Just in the 2 weeks that I've seen, either in games that we've coached in or games that we've seen, I've probably seen 6 kickoff or punt returns for touchdowns in 2 weeks.
Aaron Brown with the give. Nice pickup. Let's mark it at 7. 7 yards on that play.
Aaron Brown tackled by number 22, Josh Alvarez. A gain of 6 yards on
Kevin
the play.
Small with the stop
Second down and 4
for Los Alamitos.
at their own 43
And we are under a minute. The Monsoons going into their version of a hurry-up. Wu gets some air under it. And that is a pick. Kyle Roberts, his second one of the night. And he is back out across the 50-yard line. And with 38 seconds left, the offense licking their chops.
As I said, Mayfair scored too fast. And then on this one, the one thing that you've been successful at or had a moderate level of success is running the football. At this point, all you want to do down 42-14 is you want to run out the clock. And so now you put a quick strike offense back out again, where the last 2 or 3 long passes or the touchdowns that the Griffins have scored on, no one's been within 5 or 10 yards of the receivers.
This could be exciting. Don't leave yet. Lagarde. He's got him. Unbelievable. On the mark. Touchdown, Josh Keiko, his second of the night.
Well, when you do that, all the coaches have done, and first of all, it's a sudden change, and it's coaching 101. You get a turnover, you throw it to the end zone. And so for the kids to not, or to allow them to get behind you is a football sin.
Well, and they've done it all night, so, why are we playing up on them? Don't let that white shirt behind you, because every one of them on the near side has at least had 5 yards cushion.
Yeah, and we called it right before then. They have not even been close.
Mr. Baton is going to have to ice that leg tonight.
Yeah.
He's been busy, and that only took 8 seconds off the clock. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at 2 key plays in the last 8 seconds.
Well, this is the setup. With Wu going down the field, he's got one-on-one coverage on the outside, and you can't misstep and misthrow to the inside, and Kyle Roberts read it and went there. So we go to what leads us to, we get that and leading to the long touchdown pass, and it's just straight drop back and taking a shot, and Lagarde has been completely on target tonight.
Aaron Miner, the intended receiver on that interception, wasn't even close.
So as we come back and we see Lagarde really load up, and you know what? You look at everything from his form to his arm strength to his body language. Like I said, this isn't the same quarterback his junior year. And like I said, that's just a natural maturation process going from junior to senior. And you can also tell he put in a lot of work over the summertime.
Tyler Snyder, the deep safety there that's been burned a couple of times tonight. So Baton going to put it on the ground. Now,
and the Griffins look like they've recovered that ball.
Was that intentional?
No. All he was doing there was kicking it. It wasn't an intentional onside kick. He was telling him probably kick it low and hard, do a squib kick so he can avoid kicking it to Smith. And that's all he was doing. Run some clock, avoid kicking it to Smith.
It happened so fast. We're so used to it. I was just looking up, waiting for it to go down into the end zone.
Yeah, he was just kicking that low and hard.
So that up man then stuck an arm out and popped that thing up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, let's see if we're right. Now, in here, Coach Barnes may want to go easy and get in there, but after a turnover like that, it's usually a sudden change play, and you're usually going to throw it to the end zone.
Well, and then they load up trips on the near side. Yeah. You would be at least sending the message, we're coming at you again with everything we've got.
Yeah, you can do that, or you can assume the linemen are going to come in. You know, they're going to pin their ears back, come in for the sack. You run a screen draw, and get the defense on its heels. Get a big pickup, and then just set yourself up for maybe a late field goal if you want to work on your special teams play, or an easier shot to the end zone.
The happiest person to hear that timeout whistle was number 26, Marcus Harden, who had an overload on the near side. He's looking at 3 receivers staring him down.
Yeah, well, this guy on Los Alamitos' left side, the right corner for Mayfair, is going to be having nightmares tonight.
Well, that's Harden.
With regards to what's going on the football field.
So we've been under a minute for many minutes. Los Alamitos capitalizing. And there you see it, trips on the near side. All that great receiver talent. You have Kyle Roberts, the lone receiver on the far side, and the very dangerous Cody Paul. You choose which one you want to go to, Lagarde.
Well, they were loose, so they loosened up, and they just went to the straight hitch because they went 15. They were 20 yards off the ball, and you could see that they checked.
Well, and I just looked at the clock, and they talk about home field advantage. They probably ran 4 extra seconds off. You could see Holmes tried to get out of bounds quickly, so that probably ought to be at about 22.
Well, yeah. Oh, and they called the penalty.
And we just heard with the penalty a collective sigh over here in the Los Alamitos sideline is the faithful for the Griffins knowing what hangs in the balance. About a 7-second score we just saw. There's 18 seconds now on the clock. So that'll bring up first down and 20. This was right about where the last touchdown took place as Lagarde aired it out.
Well, the slipstream they ran was successful. Watch for a draw to Cody Paul to get him in a better position. And they come back with the same play.
Great blocking, and they get the same result. Holmes gets out of bounds, gets the first down, so good sense there.
A little short.
Oh, a little short on that, just under 12 seconds left.
Yeah, so they've got enough time for at least 2 plays. Got time for at least 2 plays. They've got 2 timeouts, and so that's if they just want to give the kicker a little bit of work. But I would imagine we're at second down. They can take 2 shots to 2 shots to the end zone, and then kick it.
They're overloading that far side, and you can see the safeties. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Dylan Lagarde. I don't even want to say the game of his season because it's so early. It's just, you decide Josh Keiko with his 3rd reception, that ball right on the money.
Yeah. It's like target practice right now. And all they're running are straight go routes. You really, you almost feel for the corner because they're just running straight go routes. They're not doing anything fancy. And it's just a pitch and catch.
And they have had a 3 to 5 yard cushion Baton with the extra point. That is good. It's a 3 to 5 yard cushion every single time.
You wonder how that can happen when they're in a prevent defense, down by 6 touchdowns, and you know that that's what they're going to do is they're just running those go routes to you, and he's just running right by the young man, and there's no safety help over the top. As you'll see here, when he does run that straight go route, no safety help over the top at all. It's just a 3-step drop from the gun, and safety is way late getting there. They're not playing their quarters correctly as far as with the cornerbacks where you play quarter coverage, if that's what they're doing, or they're not playing their 2 deep safeties very well because they're not helping over the top at all.
Now, I haven't been watching this, but we have been under 1 minute to play in the second quarter for probably the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And Los Alamitos, 3 scores?
Yes, 3 scores.
3 scores in under 1 minute.
In under a minute. Well, it's right now obvious which team came to play and which team is just totally overwhelmed. Just totally overwhelmed. And that's what a lot of these schools have to realize. You take a big step up when you go from Southern Division to Pac-5.
Again, that short kick. Give it to the up man. Avoid that dangerous return.
Now, what the scorekeeper or the clock keeper should have done in this case is let that 0.8 seconds run off.
Well, let's go back to just some coaching thoughts here. The Monsoons, you're in a big hole. Where the wheels came off in under a minute is when they decided they were going to put it in the air versus keep it on the ground. My argument wouldn't even be just to run the clock out. It's just that's what's been successful. What's really hurt you tonight is Wu putting it in the air. Los Alamitos has just been all over, especially in the defensive backfield. So your point was you run the clock out. Mine would be, why get away with what's been working?
Right, and this is true. And see, when they got the ball back with the 5 minute mark, it was I think 5:12. It would have been ideal for them to do exactly what you said, do what has been working, and just run the ball and try and get it down the field and try to get a score. And you get 2 things, and they did. They went down, they scored, but when they got the ball back, they wanted to put it in the air.
Yeah.
And that's not, you go from I think it was 35-14 or 35-14 to where we have now because they didn't run out the clock. That's where you just have to be realistic as a coach, and you have to say, you know what, we took our lumps in the first half, let's get in and let's regroup.
Let's go downstairs to Lindsay Mays.
Hi, I'm here with Grant Litfin, the LaSalle High School principal. He's been there for 2 years. What's been your impact thus far and how you like it?
Well, I love being the principal of LaSalle. My impact so far, I've definitely, I love being in a great school. I think it makes it a lot easier to do my job, to work with great kids with a supportive community every day. My impact so far, I really think when you work with great kids and great teachers, my job is to not break it, because it's not, it's not broken right now. It's rolling really, really fast. And you just need to try to keep things going, try to provide a vision and let the good people do their job.
And we are at a football game. So what is the role that the football team has on the high school?
Well, football has a lot of studies about it and how they impact schools overall. But I guess what has been found is as goes football, as goes your school year. So it's great that we're starting things off really, really strong. Our football players are just great kids, and as are almost of our athletes and our kids that are in our arts programs. It's really special kids in our school. And they're great leaders. They're kids that definitely set a tone and a standard that everybody else in the school needs to live up to.
So they're being perceived on campus as what? As how we're
Well, absolutely, as leaders and role models. And that's something that I would definitely expect of them. I think their parents expect that. I think their coaches expect that. And then they're just mature kids. They tend to expect that of themselves, and it becomes contagious. So I think LaSalle's not a great school by accident. So.
Well, we're looking for Mr. Litfin to keep doing his job, and go Griffins.
Thank you. Go Griffins.
Well, thank you very much, Lindsay. And if you're going to say that the football team sets the tone for your year, I would say it's going to be a great year. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a quick little break. There you see it, 56-14, Los Alamitos on top of Mayfair. Don't go away. We will be back with exciting second half action.
Quit playing around and clean out the garage.
Quit playing around, huh? I'll show her. Let's go, Joe. Nice.
Clean out your garage and sell Play It Again Sports, your gently used sports and fitness gear.
Welcome back to Bellflower High School. Fritz Pollard, Kevin Robinson, Lindsey Mays roaming the sidelines. We are just moments away from the third quarter getting underway in a full moon as fall has set in. Probably a 15 to 20 degree swing from just Tuesday. It's downright chilly here. Fall football weather, 56 to 14. Los Alamitos on top. As you look at Brett Baton, who has been very busy tonight, kicking extra points and doing kickoffs.
Well, you can bet it's a little bit chillier over on that Mayfair sideline than it is over here.
Let's go ahead and thank some of our sponsors again. Play It Again Sports in Los Alamitos. CI Solutions, Randy Hill's First Team Real Estate, Worthington Insurance, and Consolidated Disposal Services. Thanks to all who are supporting this telecast here on Los Alamitos Television. And we are underway in the second half. And that is in the end zone. So Brett Baton has been eliminating, all with the exception of one, the return, and the Monsoons will set it up on the 20-yard line. So a lot of scoring in the last minute of the second half. And Kevin, we were talking at halftime. We mentioned it actually before we went to half. Just, if you could do it over again, take your 14 to 35 deficit into the locker room, knowing you're going to get the ball to start the second half. And there is a big run there by Aaron Brown. Aaron Brown in a foot race, and that's the kind of thing that you were hoping for, and now you're 3 more scores down.
Right, absolutely, and they have to do what has been successful. If it means running the ball the rest of the game without throwing the ball, that's what you have to do. You have to build for next week, and you have to do what's best for your team. And if your quarterback is better at handing the ball off, scrambling, running, that's what you got to do.
Woo, handoff right up the middle and ripping off some big yardage. The Monsoons coming out of halftime and the break with a lot of steam. Marcus Harden, he actually is the safety that has been getting burned, or the cornerback that's been getting burned so much. And they are going, hurry up.
Well, at the same time, too, because we don't have a full roster, we don't know. I see a lot of numbers out there that may not have been out there in the first half for the Griffins.
Harden with another big carry.
Tackle with number 7, Cody Paul. First down and 10 for Mayfair.
So this has been a quick hitter opening to the third quarter. Move the chains. And Los Alamitos is going to talk about it. They've gotten caught a bit off guard. Some halftime adjustments there working in favor of Mayfair.
Yeah, because what you want to do is you want to go out there and you want to continue the momentum. You realize that, especially as you get the younger guys or the reserves in the game, you may give up a score or two here, but what you don't want to do is go out there and just get steamrolled just because you're a reserve. You still ought to be a competitive football player and go out there. Now, if there are starters out there, then that's a different story, but I do believe there are a few reserves in the game. I could be wrong.
Nope, you are correct, and we will get you as many of those as we can. I see number 25, Daryl Mitchell, that checked in. You still got Kyle Roberts there playing that deep safety. Terrence Brown still in. Wu gives it to Brown. Brown finds a little seam. Again, positive yardage.
Tackled by number 88.
I'll tell you, Kevin, and you being a high school coach, when you look back at this film as Mayfair's coaching leadership, do you look at this and say, wow, if we could rewind the tape, we maybe would have come out on the ground from the get-go?
Well, yeah, you anytime that you are beating this soundly, you're going to second-guess yourself. But, depending on their situation, Fritz, to be quite honest, you may look at this as a coaching staff, but you may not even show this to your kids.
Just nothing to build on.
Nothing to build on at all. Now, if they can come out, get a little bit more positive momentum and have some better things happening in this half, then you can go back and say, hey, this is how it should have been. But it really depends. They could, it could just be a complete game of errors, and they may not want to show it.
Aaron Brown, that's out to Josh Anderson. Aaron Brown was the lone setback. Josh Anderson on the far side drops it.
Bring
up third down.
Yeah, the one thing that you have to consider, though, at a lead this big, a lot of times you tell your guys, hey, you've got through the third quarter, but with a lead this big, going into the teeth of the schedule in the next few weeks, there's really no need for the offensive starters to be in the game when you come back out.
And more whistles. So almost like the hurry-up style offense biting now Mayfair as they get a procedure call.
Mayfair, 5-yard penalty.
Yeah, because now they're going to go down to the situation and start running things that weren't successful again. And you ran the ball down there, and so you have to continue to run the football for two reasons. And like I said, I know that a lot of teams say, oh, not for running the clock, but we're going to have the mercy rule in the fourth quarter anyway with that new CIF rule that's going to come into effect.
Ball on the ground. Wu scrambling around for it. Why don't you explain that new mercy rule?
The new rule is going into the fourth quarter, any team, if you're down 35 points or more, it's a running clock. And even if it gets below 35, it still continues to be a running clock. And so unless Mayfair goes on a scoring onslaught, we're going to have a mercy rule in the fourth quarter.
So Mayfair moving backwards. They're looking at a fourth down. And there again, quarterback not even ready. And here's where you just see this unraveling. A quick hitter, hurry-up offense right out of the halftime break, and then it implodes with penalties, procedure, and snapping the ball when Wu wasn't even ready.
Right, and you had two bad snaps in a row. And so he wasn't looking, it looks like, and I guess they figure why start the second half off any different than they did the first half.
Well, the Monsoons may be the happiest team for a running clock in the fourth quarter. Lagarde still in. Give it to the first man through. Fighting for extra yardage there. And now we're starting to get some substitutions in. Cody Paul gets a break. Number 6, Terrence Brown checks in.
Well, based on the fact that you had an all-county running back in Nick Richardson last year get dinged up a little bit, I would be surprised to see Cody Paul back on the field tonight.
Terrence Brown stays in at running back. And more whistles. So maybe the new personnel, even for Los Alamitos, biting them a bit.
Yeah. And, now unless you're in a situation where you may throw the ball a couple of times to get Lagarde a little bit more work, I would venture to say that this is probably going to be his last series.
Yep, why risk it?
Yep.
8:56 left here in the third. Third quarter moving right along as Mayfair came out and kept it on the ground. Handoff, fumble, and recovered by Los Alamitos as Terrence Brown loses the handle.
Now getting a little sloppy, and it's just a matter of trying to get back into a rhythm, and it's hard. Remember, they're high school kids, and the score is 56-14, and so it's hard to go back out, have the same level of intensity that you had when you first came out at the beginning of the game at 7 o'clock.
Clock continues to run. 3rd down and 9 for the Griffins. Holmes with the catch, looking to stay inbounds now as Holmes had a little bit of a lane on the outside. Cuts it back inside, and they will turn it back over to Mayfair. 4th down.
Now, Coach Barnes is going to have a discussion with the coverage team, and he maybe just going over coverage and make sure that he has the correct personnel out there, because there's probably some starters that are on the punt team that are probably on the sidelines right now.
So Brett Baton stands on his 20-yard line.
Now, if you get an offsides penalty on the Mayfair kid, but it looks like procedure.
Keenan Wright back for Mayfair. Great punt by Baton. One of the things that Coach Barnes was very excited about this year. And the clock continues to run. 7:10 here in the 3rd quarter. Keenan Wright, good pressure on that kick. Baton gets it away. And a nice roll there taken by Wright. And nice tackle there by Daniel Tyler.
Yeah, nice formed up on him and good contact made.
So Mayfair came out of the cannon, coming out of the halftime break, putting one first down after another together, and then that drive stalled right about the 20-yard line of Los Alamitos, and then the misfiring.
Well, same thing. Come out, decide to pass the football, something that they haven't been very successful at, and that stalled them.
So 6:53, handoff to Brown. Brown trying to find the corner, cuts it up, finds a little room. Los Alamitos with the tackle. Daniel Tyler again on the stop. And it will be interesting if that point differential holds in the 4th quarter. Will the mercy rule apply? Hand off to Anderson, going far side.
Well, yeah, we're now at 42 points. So, assuming that they score a touchdown, Mayfair scores something, then it puts them right at that 35 mark. But anytime it gets to 35, we'll have a running clock. And believe me, the Mayfair coaches won't be opposed to that at all.
In fact, this quarter moving along very quickly.
At a breakneck pace compared to the last two.
That ball is loose. That's a fumble. Los Alamitos jumping on it, and Mayfair just cannot catch a break. In fact, I was just going to say one of the nicer completions as Wu gets it out to Wright, but Wright not taking care of the ball.
No, not protecting the football at all, and ball protection is important. He's got it here, trying to tuck it. He tucks it, and it's stripped out by one of the Griffins, by number 28. Is it James Staff?
So, any thoughts of closing the gap and maybe excluding the mercy rule in the 4th quarter was just eliminated, at least for the time being. 5:40 left to go, and we do have now new quarterback. For Los Alamitos, Nick Wendell getting a little playing time. Terrence Brown, the ball carrier.
Ball carrier number 6, Terrence Brown, gain of a yard.
Nick Wendell, sophomore. What a great opportunity that some of these second-string players are getting, especially after the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
39-yard line. Second and 9.
Clock still running, 5:06. Mr. Wendell bringing in the play.
Well, the Griffins coaches have been downstairs. I don't think there are any in the box or have been this second half. They've shut it down and all brought it down to the field.
Yeah, they came out at halftime. Terrence Brown up the middle.
Ball carrier number 6, Terrence Brown. Tackled by number 9, Charles Dickens.
It's getting a little chippy out there as Terrence Brown not liking the extracurriculars after the play.
Third down and 7. Los Alamitos.
So that'll bring up a 3rd down, 7 to go. Clock now under 4.5 minutes in the third quarter. Dylan Lagarde's night is done, and boy, what a effort he put forth.
Yeah, it was a great night. I would venture to say his best night as a Griffin overall.
Wendell, his first pass. That is complete to Gordon.
Wendell's pass complete to number 12, Deshaun Gordon.
Deshaun Gordon will be shy of the first down marker by about 4 yards.
Brings up 4th down and 4.
And they are going to choose to keep Mr. Wendell in and go for this one. Why not? Run more time off the clock. Turning the ball over here, not the kiss of death.
No.
Handoff around the corner and going to be caught short there. Deshaun Gordon couldn't get the turn. And we'll turn over on downs.
Now you see a couple of the starters, the first team defensive players wanted to put on their helmets and run out on the field, and you see the coaches trying to hold a few of them back. Somehow Terrence Brown has found his way back out on the field.
I'm sure coach is going to have to take roll. Yeah. A lot of those starters don't want to come out. 3:08 left here in the third quarter. Wu having trouble with that snap again. Very dangerous. Good positive yardage. Taking advantage of some of those second stringers. Wow, you look at what Wu has done, and I guess I keep bringing this up, is when you look at how this game unfolded, the Monsoons went to the air, and you even said, when you're down, that's what you would think would be the remedy is we got to get points quickly.
Right.
But quite frankly, this is a team that's very methodical, can move the ball down the field, and showed that they could do it behind number 2 there. You see him right there. And look at the pickup he just had. And somehow you look at play calling and decision-making by the coaching staff, maybe panicking a little bit in the first quarter, because really the first quarter is where they lost this thing, and then the last minute of the second quarter.
And also not realizing, or at least not acknowledging the fact that this isn't a Southern Division team that you're playing. It's Pac-5 football, and there's just a huge talent difference. Just a huge talent difference. Not much in size, although the Griffins are still bigger. But Mayfair is very physical, and they're athletic, but in just sheer talent. And you're coaching against one of the best coaches in Orange County history. It's just a tough task. And Coach Fitch over at Mayfair, like I said, he's got a number of CIF championships under his belt. Even coached against him back in 93, maybe. He was a coach over at Whittier High School in the CIF finals back then.
Wu, handoff. Coming near side. Harden. Harden getting to hopefully erase some of those receivers for Los Alamitos as he's been lining up at corner and watching so many of them get behind him. He's been carrying his load on the offensive side of the ball with some positive yardage. Now, we are at 2.5 minutes left, and the reason we keep bringing up the clock is because of this mercy rule. If Mayfair can't put it into the end zone, and there's that 35-point differential, the clock will go to a running clock and hopefully get Mayfair's evening ended sooner than, say, we would have looked at last year.
Well, this year, this will have been the second time that the Griffins have gone to that, because I'm sure that they went to it last week also.
Aaron Brown, the ball carrier. Cody Marshall with the tackle.
Now we look forward to after this play, look forward to the upcoming schedule.
Aaron Brown with the carry right up the middle. First down.
Griffins will be playing at West Adams Prep in Los Angeles, and then turn around and play another LA City team in University of Los Angeles. Hopefully they're going to get a stiffer test before they play Santa Margarita.
Aaron Brown going right side. Tackled in the backfield. A minute 23 left here before the fourth quarter.
You know, once the Griffins get to Santa Margarita, so they're going to have Santa Margarita and then have to turn around the next week and play Edison. But they do have a bye in between that Santa Margarita and Edison game.
Well, Barnes is, like you say, won't talk a lot about it, but you know it's on his mind. Harden with the carry there, back to the original line of scrimmage, and now under a minute. And then we will see that running clock.
Bring up third down and 10 for Mayfair. At the Griffins, 47.
So we may get one more playoff, and then we will be into the fourth quarter, and it should be a quick quarter. Wu from the shotgun, looking to the air across the middle. That is complete to Josh Anderson, and that will likely bring the end of the quarter for Mayfair, and hopefully a speedy end to their evening. And they are just going to let this quarter run out. Ladies and gentlemen, the third quarter final before we start the fourth quarter, 56-14, Los Alamitos in charge and ahead. We will step aside for just a moment. We'll be right back with the fourth quarter.
Setting up your home with interior lighting can really be a major task. That's where McNally Electric's new website can help. Its practical and simple layout, along with its amazing search engine, allows you to sort by lighting type, style, dimension, and other factors that could help you with your decisions. Of course, McNally Electric's lighting consultants are always ready to assist you at any time. Visit our showroom in Los Alamitos, where we have a selection of over 200 vendors. We have what you're looking for. McNally Electric, affordable, quality lighting.
Welcome back to Bellflower High School, 56-14, Los Alamitos on top of Mayfair. I'd like to take this opportunity again to thank our sponsors, Los Alamitos Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy, Mike Mandis and Andy Einorn, great sponsors of any of the Los Alamitos High sports programs, best known for their way of getting you back in shape after surgery, but they also have a great wellness and fitness program which prevents injury. Train to Shape, it's called. Los Alamitos Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy. Thank you for your sponsorship. And there you see it. Kind of the way it's gone all night. Strong defense, and Wu and the Mayfair Monsoons struggling to find something that works.
Now you're just at the point where you just we see that running clock going, and as a coach, you really just want this night to end and go back and regroup.
So Los Alamitos will get more and more of their subs, seeing those clean uniforms coming out. Wendell checks in and not losing much here with the second team. Nice pickup there on first down.
Like I said, you see the one good thing and a positive side from the Los Alamitos faithful is you do get to see a lot of the, like I said, lesser experienced players, the younger players get out there on the field and get some game experience because, as you know, with a number of injuries the Griffins had last year, you can never have too much depth.
Great point. Nick Whittle from the gun. Running back up the middle. Into the pile. Give him a pickup of 1 yard. That'll bring up a third down.
Now we've got more score updates. Coach John Barnes' son, Brian Barnes at Tesoro, is having a tough go of it with Santa Margarita tonight. They're down 39-7 in the fourth quarter.
Now Santa Margarita, that is the highlight of the pre-Sunset League play for Los Alamitos. It will be their last game before starting league play. Wendell, handoff up the middle.
All right, that's number 24, Richie Molina, on the carry. I wanted to make sure I got that one. That one I did get correct, and I know that's number 24 because I met his mother. And I told her that we would make sure that we give him his just due.
Well, and thank goodness we got Mom's input on that because on the roster there are 2 number 24s.
Yeah.
So
hopefully we got the right number 24. But believe me, if there were 2 24s out there, she would have told me which 24 was her kid.
Right.
If she's anything like my mom.
It'll bring up a fourth down and 2. And, sorry there, I thought they were going to maybe go for it on fourth down. Baton, I should say. And that one will just die. Nice kick.
Yeah, that's good work for the punter, and he buried that inside the 15-yard line, and so that was a good kick. He put it in a good spot.
So Baton, second-year starter, and starting to see some of the Los Alamitos faithful heading towards the gate. And just to show you how quickly that running clock goes, we're already at 8:25, and that's just one series of play, one series of offensive play for Los Alamitos, and we're already now almost down under 8 minutes.
By the 7.5-minute mark in the first quarter, it was already 21-0, looking towards 28.
Tripped up the nice play. Wu continuing to shoulder this offense and doing it on the ground.
First down for the Monsoons. First down and 10 at the Mayfair 33.
Barry Shearer on the sideline, coaching the second team up.
Always a good sign of a good coaching staff is that they continue to coach all the way through that final bell for all the kids.
Pitch out to Brown. Brown trying to get around the corner. Nice pickup flag on the play.
Good for a first down. Tackled by number 32, Hunter Berwick.
So down at 7:21. And that penalty will be marched off against Mayfair. So, you just, even against the second team, Mayfair cannot get something going in their favor.
That's how you know it's just not their night. When it doesn't matter which group of kids is in the game. They just didn't seem very well prepared tonight for whatever reason.
Well, and if you look at last year's game, well, I shouldn't say very close, but 34-19, and we just expected to see something a little closer here because, as Barnes said, they are a very physical and big team.
Yep, that they are.
Harden with a nice spin move there to break away from the tackler.
A gain of 17 yards for the first down.
But, you know, at the same time, now when we say that, we don't want to take away from the Griffins coaching staff and, more importantly, the Griffins players, because they obviously were very well prepared tonight.
Yes. Very well prepared, and for two games in a row, I think we are seeing a very special Los Alamitos team. And the second team bringing the wood.
Well, from my discussions with a couple of the parents, this particular group of kids, the juniors and seniors, a lot of them played in that Pop Warner, were part of that Pop Warner team that went to Florida and played in one of the Pop Warner Super Bowls. And, you know, and really, like I've mentioned always about Cody Paul, when he joined those teams, they just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And you can tell that this group has played together because they play well together.
Wu throws it out. That is complete. Caught by Billy Thomas.
Number 2, Christian Wool's pass complete to number 3, Billy Thomas. Good for 4 yards. Tackle by number 32, Connor Burley.
And now we are approaching 5 minutes left here in this contest.
You know, one of the things that, you know, this school district really takes care of this field. This is
a beautiful field.
It's a good field, nice natural grass field,
which you're not seeing many of anymore.
Not seeing many of. Nice clean stands. It's a good venue.
Wu under pressure. Nice pursuit there by Los Alamitos.
Gain of about 2 yards. Tackle by number 99,
Michael Hayden in on the stop.
Bring up 3rd down and 4 for Mayfair at the 44-yard line of Los Alamitos.
Yeah, we've got a packed house tonight. Good thing because it's a little chilly here. Everyone's kind of staying cozy.
Yeah.
Not as many leaving as you would have thought, especially up as much as the Griffins are. Hayden with the handoff there. And the Griffin defense holding strong. That'll bring up a 4th down and a long one.
Well, the support here from the student body and from the parents in the Los Alamitos School District is really great for the Griffins program. High school football is really important. As we heard the principal say, a lot of times schools do look at it as the football team goes. It kind of sets the tone for the school year.
Hayden breaks through. The bend but don't break. Griffin's second team doing their job.
But you know what? The support of the community is really important. And you really can't tell because not only is the football program flourishing, but all of the sports at Los Alamitos High School, for the most part, are really successful and very well-supported programs.
That they are. 1st and 10. Wu coming near side. And I'll tell you, Wu has earned his pay tonight.
That's a young man that you have to have nothing but respect for.
Knocked out of bounds by number 22, Kevin Small.
We've got the Los Alamitos girls playing for their championship coming up this next week. So, and the guard tournament.
Yeah, it's a great volleyball program there for the Griffins, for the young ladies at Los Alamitos.
So for the Monsoons, if they can punch it in here, at least they can close this gap a little bit, get this week in the books, and as you say, maybe a game that the coaches don't even review.
Yeah, I'd like to see Mr. Wu get in the end zone again.
And he does.
Yeah, if not for the fact that, you know, that kid, you've got to have respect for a guy that just keeps bringing it no matter how many times he's punched in the gut, and that's exactly what he's done all night.
And he just a junior. Just think about what he's done tonight, and the fact he'll be back next year. And listen, when they get into their league play, maybe not the team that they have been in the past, but certainly one that is capable of competing. And they have competed very well before. In fact, they finished second in the Suburban League last year, having lost 3 of their first games in the 2010 campaign.
Well, they play teams like Los Alamitos. They play Lakewood every year in a neighborhood shootout.
Take a look at that touchdown. And now the fans for Los Alamitos heading towards the gate.
Yeah, as you see, Wu, just on the read to the right, breaks a couple of tackles and just carries them in for the last 5 yards into the score.
And, when you talk to coaches like Mike Fitch, they say, we purposely schedule teams like this to get us ready for our league play. They lost last year to Chino Hills, Los Alamitos, and Lakewood. Then they rip off the next 5 wins: Valley Christian, Norwalk, Cerritos, Glen, and Bellflower. They lose to La Mirada, who actually was the Suburban League champs. So they go 5-1, and then they go 3 deep in the playoffs.
Yeah, and you know what? I think as I look in here, they were in Southern Section, and they may not. I believe I made a mistake and said they were in the Southern Division. They're not in the Southern Division in CIF, but their division is a step up from that, but it's still below the competition level that Los Alamitos would normally see once they get in the league, and definitely once they get into the playoffs.
Kendall Holmes with the return, and a nice one at that. So they finished second in the Suburban League. Then they go into the playoffs. They beat Diamond Ranch. Then they beat Burroughs and lost to West Covina. And so, they started off 0-3. So, I guess I'm giving them credit for playing a powerhouse like Los Alamitos, taking a score like this. Last year, a little tighter score. Yet, when you have a coaching staff that says, we use this to build on and learn from, that's saying something.
Yeah, and they, West Covina, they lost in the CIF in the semis, and I believe West Covina may have even won that division last year. And Coach Fitch, like I said, usually does schedule up. This is just one where sometimes you just take it on the chin and then hope that your team improves by the end of the year and really get you ready for league. Because I tell you what, they're not going to see in league any type of team like this. La Mirada will be their biggest competition, but that Lakewood team is going to be formidable for them.
Absolutely, and they're not backing down much this year, scheduling down. Of course, they won that game. Los Alamitos and Lakewood, 2 very tough opponents.
Right.
So Mayfair, you took your licks tonight against a very good Los Alamitos team. Dylan Lagarde, another standout night. Cody Paul, another standout night. Kyle Roberts, offense and defense, couple of interceptions, and they'll look forward to week 3 and just moving the pile.
Now, our point being made about scheduling, as you have the schedule that Lakewood played, you go in contrast with the scheduling, and we talk about this every year, with the scheduling of the Griffins. And you just hope that it prepares them for Sunset League play, and you hope that it prepares them for CIF, because this is it. Once they get past these teams, they're going to hit the gauntlet once they get the Santa Margarita.
And we're coming down into the final seconds next week. Los Alamitos squares off against West Adams, then University, and then the big one, Santa Margarita, and then the bye, and then they start the very tough Sunset League, opening with Edison, then Fountain Valley, Newport Harbor, Huntington Beach, and Morena. So Los Alamitos, 56-21, another dominating performance in week 2. And congratulations to the Griffins. Dominated in every facet of the game. Of course, offense. You then have the defense with a couple of interceptions. And then the special teams with Baton tonight. Very, very strong. Very strong. I'd like to take this opportunity again and review Los Al Best. What does BEST stand for? Business Elite Support Team. So if you're out and about shopping in the Los Alamitos area and you see the BEST logo in a store window or by the cash register, tell them which local sports organization that you would like that purchase to go towards, and 5% of that overall purchase will go to that organization. Each week, we'll mention some of the businesses who are part of the program. And, of course, there are a handful: Aegean Designing Whims, Quinn's Ice Cream and Sweets, Charlie the Barber, Madera's Steak and Ribs, and U.S. Donuts, to mention a few. Thank you again to Play It Again Sports, Consolidated Disposal Services, Cartridge World, Montage Dentistry, The Finishing Touch, Seaport Doors and Windows, the Yucatan Grill. All of these great sponsors made tonight's production a success. And Kevin, great to be back with you. Your thoughts on this game as it wraps?
Well, as we discussed, the Griffins definitely came ready to play tonight. And more importantly, Dylan Lagarde came ready to play. And in the first game that we've telecast this year, he has really set the tone, I think, for how his season is going to go. It's just one game. You don't want to overreact to a bad performance, and you don't want to overreact to a good performance. But based on what I've seen in him over the last 2 years, he's ready to play.
Yes. Absolutely. He's ready to play, and just the confidence. When he walks on the field, he's the guy in charge.
Yep.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, stay with us. We're going to go downstairs to Lindsay Mays and have some of the great standout performers from tonight's game. Let's go downstairs.
I'm here with Dylan Lagarde, Josh Kaiko, and Kevin Roberts.
Kyle
Roberts. Kyle, I'm so sorry. You guys undefeated in week 2. How does it feel?
It was great.
It was good.
What are we looking forward to next game?
Same thing. Same thing.
So O-line keep blocking it up, receivers catching the ball, and defense stopping their offense.
And Dylan, you've had 5 touchdowns today. Josh, you've had 3, and Kyle, you've had 2 picks and 1 touchdown. What went well today?
You know, we executed during practice, and then we came out here and just did like we do in practice, and just did good.
And
called good plays and nothing more.
And Josh, why did you and Dylan keep connecting?
You know, Dylan, he's a great quarterback. You know, we were hooking up all night, and it just seemed to flow. It just seemed to flow today.
And Kyle, why was the quarterback looking to you every time from Mayfair?
Honestly, I can't say why he was looking towards me. I was just dropping in my zone, got in the right area, and just saw the ball and made a play. That's all I did.
All right, guys, let's look forward to next week. Let's keep it going, undefeated for week 3, right? Okay, go Griffins.
Go Griffins, baby. Go Griffins.
All right, thank you very much, Lindsay, and thank you to Kyle Roberts, Josh Kaiko, and Dylan Lagarde. And let's go back to that last minute that we've talked about a bit as the second quarter was winding down. Kaiko, he was the key guy getting deep on those routes. You were calling them the go routes. Dylan Lagarde just rearing back and throwing a beautiful ball with a lot of air in it that just dropped in. I think those were some of the things I'm seeing, the difference between last year and this with Dylan Lagarde.
Yeah, just overall, his arm strength, and I'm not necessarily sure whether it's arm strength or just confidence. But from what I see, he just looks like he worked on his mechanics over the summer. He had some success over the summer, and the one thing he's not lacking any longer is confidence.
Well, confidence is what will take him into next week's game, and if we have seen any of that confidence turn into scoring, it should be another big night for the Griffins next week. So you'll want to attend that game. We'll be covering more games throughout the season. It's a pleasure, as always, having all of you watching Los Alamitos Television. For Lindsay Mays downstairs, for Kevin Robinson up here, my name is Fritz Pollard. Thank you for watching exciting high school sports here on Los Alamitos Television. The final from Bellflower High School, Los Alamitos 56, Mayfair 21. Ladies and gentlemen, good night.
Good night, everyone.